I'll start to let my panel actually introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about their company. But we have Jason Malone, who is the president of Tap In Entertainment. We also have Polo Kerber, who's the head of talent and partnerships at Playmaker. Amir Brown of Breaker Plus, he's the co-founder and the president. And we have, holding it down for the ladies, we got Ashton Smith-Godin of Switch Cultures. And so a lot of people have asked me, like, what is, the new wave of creators, and like, really, what does that mean? I think that, one of the things that we're witnessing right now is the fact that creators are coming in all types of shapes and forms. And so whether that's sports or entertainment, whether businesses are actually becoming, creative brands and they're able to monetize off of their social media posts and the things that they're doing, we really found that creators are starting to take a different shape. They're starting to own a lot more of their creative IP, figure out ways that they can directly monetize, use a lot of these social media platforms as ways to really, gain followers and, really treat it as like a click funnel. And so with that, I wanted to start with Jason, just to give a quick introduction about you and your company, and then we'll just make our way down the line, and then we'll start with the questions.
Yeah, thanks, Terrell. So Tap In Entertainment is a multi-channel network where basically we aggregate content across different niches and create communities across those niches. And so that multi-channel aspect is distributed across social media. We have an OTT platform, and we're also in the process of launching a linear platform through different local power television stations. And so the idea is to use the power of data and aggregate communities across the different content categories and sort of form an ecosystem through which those followers of that content can engage and sort of create its own ecosystem where they can monetize, they can promote their business, their brand, and just build overall awareness for what they're doing. And so one of the largest, we have a couple of different verticals that are pretty significant, but our two largest verticals are in youth and high school sports. And we also have a pretty large HBCU following with HBCU Live TV.
Thank you.
Yeah, hey everybody, my name is Amir Brown, co-founder, president of Breaker. Breaker is an end-to-end influencer marketing platform. We specifically focus on the music niche. So we originally started out connecting independent artists with independent content creators, and they transact in our patented escrow system. We've since evolved to work with all the major labels, so Sony, UMG, Warner, and all the major content creator agencies, and it's the same initial premise. We wanted to create transparent pricing models for creators. We wanted to allow invoices to be deployed at a net 0 versus net 60, net 90, et cetera. And we wanted to make sure that the reporting at a corporate level is consolidated and aggregated so that a CFO at the top of a record label can say, hey, how much money did I spend on influencer marketing? What was the results? And at the click of a button, anybody within that entire organization with access rights can create those reports. So that's Breaker, and happy to be here.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Ashton. I'm the COO and co-founder of Switch Cultures, a basketball media company where we cover NBA, WNBA, overseas G League, college, high school. So basically like every subsector of basketball that there is. And I'm alongside my co-founder and my brother Jordan, as well as Anthony Goods. They both played basketball. And our whole mission is to make sure that we make media coverage equitable amongst all those sectors. So sometimes when a player goes overseas, you don't really see them often, or you don't see the coverage that they deserve. So we make sure that we highlight them as well as the NBA side and get some looks at some upcoming high school kids in the basketball space.
Hey everybody, I'm Polo Kerber. I'm the head of talent and partnerships for Playmaker. Playmaker serves as two sides. The side that I'm on, I represent NBA, NFL, and NIL athletes, really just helping them with their brand partnerships, their content creation, and just managing their social media. And then on the flip side of that, Playmaker as a whole is a media company. We have about 20 million followers across our platforms on social media, and we really work with brands just to, help create content for them, help grow their socials as well, and push it out however we can on our platforms.
Yeah, dope. Thank you all. And one of the things that I really wanted to start off with, we'll start off with you, at the end, when we look at brands and brands, wanting to change up the traditional ways that they market, the way they get their products out. Obviously, influencer marketing is like really big. And with the topic of this panel being like the new wave of creators, like what are some of the things that these different brands, these different organizations are looking for when they are partnering with like various creators?
Yeah, I think one is being organic and, looking for influencers, athletes, whoever they're partnering with that actually understand the product. And it's not just, oh, I'm posting this because I got paid, first of all. I think the other side is that when you look at traditional marketing, it was really like a lot of TV ads or, Super Bowl commercials, things like that. And people don't really watch TV that much anymore, or you can skip ads very easily. So everybody has their phones in their hands. When you look at some of these influencers, especially in the sports space, there's a lot of people that look up to them. So when you're working with a brand, if I post Pepsi and I have all these people that are following me that now they're thinking about Pepsi. So I think that's really what brands look for, and trying to be more organic and authentic is really what we try to go for.
Yeah. And just a quick follow-up to that. So like, do you think brands more so are just concerned about the reach, or they're concerned about, or they're very interested in like the actual creativity of the person that they're partnering with?
I think both. I think with us, with me having the platform that we have, we can guarantee those brands that they'll get that reach, but also being able to find a creator that doesn't necessarily need to have, millions and millions of followers to have an impact.
Yeah, and that's cool. And then I know, like we had a conversation around just the fact that like you provide like resources like for the creators. And so have you really seen a lot of opportunities for creators to start to learn like how to create?
Yeah, I think, just being like a one-stop shop, trying to make it as easy as possible really helps. So we try to take care of the production, the editing, bringing the brands to the table, and then also help pushing the reach out, so that the creator's job is as easy as it can be, and being able to help them monetize off of their social media platforms.
Yeah, exactly. I think monetization is like one of the key points. And so, Ashton, we had a little talk out, about you and your company and how you really chose to kind of cover sports. I really think it's important to have like non-traditional like media companies covering sports to really tell about that different, like the different side, right? You're going to see your ESPNs, you're going to see all the major like sports outlets, but really I think your company like provides like a particular view. So what has been some of the things that you've seen, and the type of content that you want to cover that separates you from like the traditional capturing of content?
Yeah, for sure. I noticed a lot in like traditional media. I did a lot of research. Their upper, like the CEOs and stuff, they didn't really play sports. And that was the first thing I realized. I'm like, how do you own a company and you never touched a ball? Like, that's kind of crazy to me. But so, me and my brother and my co-founders, we just made it a priority to make sure that we show the side of the athlete, because we were athletes too at one point. And we understood how it felt to be on the other side of the camera. So like, I didn't play basketball per se, but my brother did. And if he got dunked on or if somebody he knew got dunked on, we understood how that felt and how that can make you like, how it can bring down your marketability sometimes. So when we go into spaces, I feel like our network really respects us because we don't always put that out for clicks, because we value our network more than, trying to go viral per se. So I would say what really makes us different than traditional TV is like just our network and our mindset going in and actual knowledge of the game of basketball and what we try to put out on social media, allowing our followers to actually learn the game, to see a different side of the athlete, able to, feel like a community, understand the culture of hoop. It's more than just a highlight. It's a lot more layers to it.
Yeah, it definitely is. And, I think it's important because we kind of talked about, the recruiting cycle of like athletes in high school. I remember when I was going to high school, we had to create VHS tapes. We had to, try to ship them out, figure out how to get some money to even get them, get a VCR that works, things like that. So, so I was a football player, played basketball in high school, but ultimately like went to school at San Jose State. So I have a lot of friends who like have actually made it, but I think it's important to look at how media is portrayed now, because now these young kids, they're actually able to create their own content, put it out there, Many of them are like editing on their own. And so like how is the landscape of the high school athlete playing a part into like the type of content that you actually captured?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I saw this interview that Austin Rivers actually
Yeah.
did talking about like hoop culture and like the mixtapes and stuff. So I asked Batum off the Clippers, because he reposted it, how he felt, and he was saying how, you know, a lot of the younger kids are starting to fade away from, you know, a traditional bounce pass, like the critical basics of hoop that you need. Yeah, like the fundamentals, because they want to get the highlight tape so bad, you know. So I think, you know, to answer your question, it's really important for kids to still do the basics, as well as, you know, if you got it, you got it. Go ahead and do this, you know, like the flashy stuff too, but also hone in on your skills. So I think that is important. And for kids, like, if you do want to promote yourself, go for it. This is the best generation to do it. You have everything.
Yeah.
You really don't have an excuse, to be honest. But I think, definitely prioritize making yourself marketable. And I think that is something that a lot of kids, you know, should do. And I hope that we're doing a good job in leading in that aspect to help them, you know, do it the right way.
Yeah, definitely. And just setting that example of showing them
Exactly.
like what to do. So that's dope. So so I wanted to come next to Amir. I'm just working my way down the line, and Jason, just bear with us real here. But I'm actually really interested in like Breaker and like the things that you do, because I ultimately feel that, you know, sometimes creators don't know how to get with talent. Sometimes brands don't know how to actually connect. And so how have you seen, you know, like various artists, and maybe you could share a couple of success stories around like how Breaker has been able to kind of kick off someone and really be able to connect and make that impact?
Yeah, for sure. You know, I mean, one can say that like with the proliferation of TikTok and short form video that, you know, A&Ring is essentially like finding people online almost at this point. Now, mind you, I don't want to take away from their profession, right? You see anything else, producers, mixers, engineers, songwriters, etc., studios, like there's a lot that goes into A&Ring. But like identifying talent has now become like a community sourced activity, right? A bunch of kids in a small network can like find something that they really like, find a piece of the song that really resonates, and start creating content around it. And next thing you know, it's across America, right? Yeah. So I think, you know, just staying like at the ground level and knowing what's happening and having tools and resources to figure out what's bubbling is something that we focus on. You know, one of the artists that we worked with early on, who's now signed to Universal Island, Charlie on a Friday, we were able to work with him and connect him with content creators and test very small budgets to find the pockets of kids that would resonate with him before we went and deployed a bunch of capital. So I think like testing in influencer marketing is something that you don't really hear about a lot, but it's something that we do, particularly in music, because again, you don't want to spend across a demographic of people that, you know, the music doesn't resound with, or spend on a creative that just doesn't make sense. So we did that a lot on some of his early songs. Once we found that like Southern, like truck talk type of kids were really resonating with him. Mind you, he's from Seattle, but without the data and without the testing and without the access to these creators, we've indexed over 50 million creators across 40 data points each and all of their audiences. So being able to like come up with these hypotheses around the song, find a niche pocket that we think would work, find those niche kids. Now, mind you, it doesn't necessarily mean that they have to have 1 million followers, and it doesn't mean they have to have 100 followers, right? It's all about their engagement, and I think the growth of their engagement. We don't focus on follower count much. Like we hear about this all the time, vanity metrics. They're important, but we know that algorithms reward content that's engaging, right? And if you can look at a kid and say, look, you had 5,000 followers last month, and this month you have 6,000, but also your engagement rate on your content has grown 100%, that's something significant. So we look out for people like that the algorithms are rewarding, and we start testing with them. Once it sticks, you deploy more budget. Once you see that continuing to work downstream, not only on the social reward, but the streaming, right? I should be able to see if I've spent $100,000 within 1 month on a single, and I target it where the pops are, whether it's the locations or, you know, whether it's just the general interest or the sentiment for the song, et cetera. So we use a lot of tools for like comment sentiment analysis and things like that. to really just find that niche. And then once you find it and it's working, then you double down on it. So that's a little bit of like the philosophy we use. We still manage Charlie to this day, and he has 2 gold records on the way.